Hey everybody, how you doing? This is about to be a really fun video. At least I hope so. For this video, this is my first time to the range with this dude right here. What in the world is this? Well, this is a Rossi LWC. You can see the whole package is pretty short. That scope looks pretty ridiculous on there, but I put a big old scope with a lot of zoomies just in order to test out the precision of this thing. If I put a little bitty LPVO on it or something like this, which is probably what myself for hunting or a lot of you guys might put on it, there might be a little bit of wiggle room as far as the 100-yard groups of, well, did I break the trigger at the exact same time every time? The big zoomies, that's what that's for. I'll really be able to look down there and confirm whether or not I broke it good. So we're testing how good this thing can do, which I think is what you guys want to see, and it's definitely what I want to see. But just a quick end to end of these LWCs. Plastic butt plate, hollow plastic stock. The bottom's actually hollowed out right there. How do you break it open? You press that button right there down. There you can see. And yeah, hammer's right here. Unlike the CVA Scouts, this does have a safety right there. Some of y'all might like a safety on it. And it does have a threaded barrel. Now, the barrel is 1000% on the stock. Every time I make a video on precision, there's 5,000 people comment, oh, is it free floated? Is it touching the stock? I think a bunch of y'all have watched some FUD videos. Yes, that can affect precision and accuracy, but not as much as you might think, at least in my experience. But yes, 1000%, this stock is completely touching 100%. The entire horseshoe of this stock is touching the barrel. It does have a threaded barrel, so yeah, I brought the shusher out, which is going to make this a lot more fun and a lot more quiet. So I brought out my Banish 46 can. This one is a 350 Legend. I don't even think I told you that yet. They're coming out with these in quite a few different calibers, but they made the 350 Legends first, so I bought a 350 Legend. Y'all watch the show saw me pick it up at Tolliver's the other day, but this is my Banish 46 can. 350 Legend, 35 is bigger than 30, so I can't put a 30 can on here, but you know what's bigger than 35? 46. So this is my Banish 46 can. It ought to make this thing real quiet. Now this scope was on a 6.5 PRC last, so the scope should be borderline on, I think, but we're going to send one here at 10 yards at those paper plates just to get the scope aligned with the barrel, and then I'm going to go back to 100 yards and see what we think about this stuff. Now, stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed, because I'm going to do a bunch of videos on this thing. I have spent a small fortune on 350 Legend ammo, and we're going to be sending just about every factory loading through it that you can get your hands on. So far, people have been saying these are trash and don't group. I want to give the thing justice. You guys that watch the show know I really like budget-friendly and affordable things. This Rossi is definitely budget-friendly and affordable. You say, hey, I don't want to spend a whole bunch on a deer catching rig. This might be something for you if it's accurate. Now, I will say, for only like 100 more beans, you can get something like a Savage Axis bolt action. So, is it worth it? I don't know. We're fixing to find out. I've been debating on what to try to test it first in this video. Like I said, I'm going to do follow-up videos doing a bunch of factory loadings. Let me see here. I'm going to go with this stuff to sight it in with and just take a stab at it. This is 180 grain Federal non-typical, which to my knowledge is the same as the Blue Box Federal Power Shocks. Why am I grabbing this? Well, out of all the 350 Legends bolt actions I've tested in the past over the years, this seems to be the one they like the best. Is this one going to be the same? I don't know, but let's find out. Let me send one at 10 yards here, and we'll get this scope aligned with the barrel, Then we'll go back to 100 and see what we can do with it. Check it out. My laser bore sighter finally broke on me a couple months ago, so I've gone back to the old school way of just looking down the barrel and aligning the scope that way. Now looking through it, it looks like we should at least be good enough to hit a paper plate at 10 yards. Let's see where she's at. First time ever squeezing the trigger on here. Now these do have quite the heavy trigger. A lot of people want to compare this to the CVA Scouts. The CVA Scout trigger is much better than the trigger in these, but we're testing this out today. A heavy trigger, a lot of people want to put a lot of weight into, oh, a lighter trigger makes you better. Not necessarily. It makes it easier to break the trigger without moving the rig, but if you know what you're doing, you can break a heavy trigger just about as good as a light trigger. Let's aim at the top dot, and I want my hit somewhere close to that bottom dot here. Also see how quiet this is. Do my best on this squeeze here. Not too bad. So the up and down is about where we want it. I'm gonna move it to the right some. So taking it off of my 6.5 PRC, putting it on this, it did okay. But I need to move it to the right. So do the clickies this way and try to hold it still. Let's go ahead and send another one just to verify. I don't want to be chasing this all day back there at 100 yards. Get it fairly close here. Also, this stuff is supersonic, and that was pretty quiet. I don't have my ears in. This is supposed to be going 2,100 feet per second at the muzzle. 16-inch and some change barrel, it's probably closer to 2,000. But let's send another one here and see if my left to right worked out good. Trigger is not terrible. A lot of people poo-pooing on these triggers. It's not terrible. For a deer catching rig, not too bad at all. But we got the scope lined up with the barrel here at 10 yards. We ought to be able to hit something at 100. Let's see what happens. Like I said, this stuff has done me good as far as grouping in the past. I've never taken a deer with this stuff, but grouping is the first start in catching a deer. Let's go back to 100 yards. But first impressions off the first squeeze there. Trigger's not that bad. For the price, if you want to just go get the absolute cheapest deer catching machine, probably not too bad, assuming it groups at 100. Now, if you're in the woods at 20 yards, it probably doesn't make a difference if it groups that great. But me personally, I just enjoy having fun getting precision groups out of everything. So we're going to do a bunch of testing with this and try to answer all the questions you might have about these Rossi LWCs. But so far, so good. Pretty consistent, at least at 10 yards. Let's go back to 100 and see what happens. All right, now here we go back at 100 yards. Let's see where it's at. I hope it's close. I forgot my pack of targets. I've been using those bright orange Caldwell targets where you can see your hits for a little bit. So we're going old school with the paper plates again. Hopefully at 100 yards, we're at least on a paper plate. I've got 4 down there and some new cardboard. So either way, we ought to be able to see our hits here, but I do my best. Get my parallax perfect. Here we go. See where it's at. Hopefully it's pretty close. Good squeeze there. And we're only about 1 inch low of where I was holding the top right plate there. So go ahead and just do a group of 3. And then I'll adjust it for the bullseye here. Good squeeze on those 2. So far we're looking at a group of about a little over 1 inch. Maybe the rumors on this are correct. It's not one for great groups, but if you're catching deer inside 100, it's, like I said, it probably don't matter as much. I just like to put them in the same hole. And that was a good squeeze there. So there's two pretty near touching, the first and the third, and the second was at the bottom. So let me adjust a little up and down, left and right based on that, and I'll send another group. All right, so made a quick adjustment. Now, let's go to the top left plate and see what happens. Probably never gonna reload 350 Legend, but I'm saving the brass anyways. Like I said, I'm gonna do a bunch of testing with this thing, so if you're interested in these things, make sure you're subscribed and got those notifications on, because we're about to do a bunch more videos with this. Good squeeze. Looks like our adjustment was pretty dead on. Good squeeze there. Looks like it doesn't hate these, but it doesn't love them either. And good squeeze there. Now that one's gonna be worse. I don't know. Let's do another group of three. Let's do the bottom left plate. And we'll see how she goes, and then we'll measure those groups at the end. I'll edit this real quick so we just have 1, 2, 3 here on this group. I didn't bring out my Mondo lead sled today, but this one's the Caldwell Lead Sled 3. Plenty enough sled for this little short 350 Legend. I normally keep this sled at the range out here. Lead Sled 3. 3 more flings here. Now I didn't like what just happened there. It sounded the same, but the hammer was stuck back, and I think I might have actually just broke it. I don't know, but the round is boom down in there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I can't eject it. So see how it's down in there past this, whereas when you open it before you could just grab them out. Now it's down in there. I'll close it and open it. Somehow this hammer was stuck back again, and yeah, I'm gonna have to find a pipe or something, or a poker to stick way down in the barrel and get that out. That's a big time fail there. You can see it's down below where I can't grab it. Well, I'll be back in a minute. I want to finish that group, but that's a big time fail. What I was able to do was jam my pocket knife down in there and just pry that brass out. But what happened was I squeezed the trigger, hammer went down, round went off, and then somehow or another the hammer got locked back again, and that spent brass was rammed down deeper than it should have been. So something hanky. Also, the point of impact was way off of the others. But let's send 2 more just to finish off that third group there and see what happens. See, now that one's back down closer to where the previous impacts were, and that one didn't have any monkey business. I might as well send a 4th one into that group, because that one was obviously squirrely. Who knows, was it the ammo? Yeah, it's really hard to say. Send another one. We won't have a full picture on this thing until we test a lot more ammo, but right off the jump, is it good enough to catch a deer? Probably, but not the best groups you ever see in your life. Yeah, and that's pretty consistent with the other ones if you take out that crazy high one. 1.5 inch group, but pretty consistent there, 1.5 to 2 inch groups. Let's go measure them just so we know exactly how it turned out. So, didn't like those 180s like I hoped it would. All right, so We got trouble right here in River City. I got to looking at the brass for that one that went hanky, split all the way down the side. Then I looked at the rest of them. 8 out of the 10 pieces of brass split all the way down the side. I'll show you those here in a second. But my calipers, the battery's dead, so that's probably a 3-4 inch group. 1.5 if you don't count that one. That one's probably a 2-inch group. That one's probably 1.5 inches. I'll measure these all at the house at the end of the video with my calipers. But let me show you this brass. This is kind of scary, guys. I've never had this happen out of anything, and I've been at the range more days and sent more rounds down range than probably anybody you know. But look at this brass up close. I did 3 groups, fired 10, 3 groups of 3 and then 1 extra. Look at the first 8 pieces of brass. Split down the side, split down the side, split down the side, split down the side, split down the side. Now I'm no gunsmith, but I'm assuming that means something is wonky with the chambering. Now I'm gonna look down the side of this barrel. Now, is this a 350 Legend? Yeah, it's 350 Legend. And this is all 350 Legend bullets, right? Yeah. I don't think it's supposed to do that, y'all. So I'm gonna call this one an epic fail. Never seen anything like that. I'm pretty sure that's, I don't know, dangerous. You guys tell me in the comments down below. I've never had that happen in 350 Legend, and I've done a bunch of 350 Legend testing. I was really optimistic about this thing because I saw several people already poo-pooing on this thing, and I kind of took that as a challenge, as, you know what? Maybe they just don't know what they're doing, or maybe they haven't tested enough ammo. Like I said, I have bought tons of 350 Legend ammo so we can test this thing out, like every single one that I know of that you can get factory. But I'm kind of apprehensive to test it any further because of that brass splitting. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Is that cool? I don't think it's cool. Is it unsafe? Should we get rid of this one? I don't know. But like I said, I'm no gunsmith, but to me that means there's something wonky with the chambering. See how it's split there? I don't know. You guys tell me. But 8 out of 10 pieces of brass split. Just so we have it on record, I'm going to go ahead and finish the video at the house measuring those groups. But so far, LWC, at least the one I got, epic fail, and it's not grouping that good. But hopefully we'll get to do some more testing with it. All right, so I told you I'd measure those groups and finish the video at the house. So there's one group, 1.58 inch group. Nothing to write home about, but probably good enough to take a deer inside 100 yards. A 2-inch group. And then this final one was a 2.8 inch group. That was the one that really was off. And looking at it now, that hole is a lot smaller too, which is interesting. I don't know. Maybe that one was going a lot slower or something. But then if you measure those, that's a 2.8 if you measure those. And then I sent that 4th one, and that made this group 1.37. So kind of in a way, the best group was 1.37, but really the worst group was 2.8, and then a 2, and then a 1.58. But let me know what you guys think. First trip to the range, Rossi, LWC in 350 Legend, but 8 out of the 10 of those pieces of brass split on me. And it's not an ammo issue. I've run that same ammo, literally that one box, in 2 different other 350 Legends. No problems, and grouped well. That's why I chose it for this to test out, because I've tested that ammo in 2 other 350 Legends, and they were like well under an inch group. Even so much to where I have a video taking 350 Legend out to 700 yards consistently because that ammo grouped good in it. And then that brass splitting, 8 out of 10. Like I said, it's not an ammo issue because I've had that ammo in 2 other 350 Legends and it did perfectly fine. So I'm not an expert on this stuff when this stuff happens to the brass, but in my mind, I feel like the chamber is too loose, too big, and then when the round goes off, there's extra space for that brass to move, and that's what's with the pressure splitting that brass. So my unqualified, unexperienced assessment of that is the chamber's wonky on that thing. I was going to film some more videos that same day. I actually filmed that yesterday, but I wasn't too sure it'd be real safe to just be doing that over and over and over and over, splitting cases every time. So I kind of feel like this is a fail. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is that dangerous? Should we try to do some type of warranty work with it or something? I don't know. Warranty stuff, a lot of times I really don't like to fool with it because I don't have the patience or the time to go back and forth and all that jazz. But especially on something cheap, something more expensive, obviously it'd be good. But let me know what you think. Comment down below. I had higher hopes for this thing. Again, it might like some other ammo a lot better. You know, things like this happen. Bad groups with one, but do good with another. Things like that happen all the time. But what has me concerned is the brass getting split. But hey, appreciate you watching. We'll see you guys on the next one. WHOTEEWHO!